Leadership and Impact Development. Part 2. Impact Development. Building leaders, systems, and communities that outlast you. Written by Daniel Eremesele. Contents. Introduction. The call to build beyond your lifetime. Chapter 1. Understanding Impact Development. Chapter 2. The 3 kinds of contributors. Chapter 3. From personal success to lasting significance. Chapter 4. The 3 areas of impact development. Chapter 5. 3 questions for community transformation. Chapter 6. The mindset of an impact developer. Chapter 7. The 4-step impact framework. Chapter 8. Measuring and sustaining impact. Chapter 9. Build what will outlast you. Conclusion. A personal impact commitment. Introduction. The call to build beyond your lifetime. Leadership is not measured only by what a leader accomplishes while present. Its highest proof is revealed in what continues to grow after that leader has stepped away. Positions eventually change, seasons come to an end, and public recognition fades. However, people who have been developed, systems that have been established, and communities that have been strengthened can continue to speak for generations. Impact development must therefore occupy a central place in the heart of every leader. If your work is to outlive you and serve the generation that follows, you must make it a core value to create lasting change in the lives of those under your leadership. Leadership is not merely about being visible at the front. It is about building capacity in others, creating structures that sustain progress, and leaving behind a pathway that others can follow. This book presents a practical and biblical framework for doing exactly that. It calls leaders to move beyond activity to transformation, beyond personal success to shared progress, and beyond temporary achievement to enduring legacy. Chapter 1. Understanding Impact Development. Impact development is the intentional process of growing people, strengthening systems, and transforming communities so that they produce measurable and lasting change. It is development with purpose, direction, and continuity. It does not happen by accident. It is the result of thoughtful leadership, disciplined investment, and a commitment to the future. Impact development is more than doing something good for a moment. It is building something that continues to do good even when you are no longer there to supervise it. Charity may meet an immediate need, and that is important. Impact development goes further by addressing the conditions that repeatedly create the need. It equips people to become capable, creates systems that make progress repeatable, and strengthens communities so they can participate in their own advancement. True impact should be observable. It may be seen in people who have gained competence and confidence, organizations that function more effectively, families that have become stable, businesses that create opportunity, churches that raise disciples, or communities that solve persistent problems. The form may differ, but the principle remains the same. Lasting leadership leaves people and places better equipped than it found them. The biblical pattern of impact begins with God Himself. God creates, orders, develops, empowers, and commissions. He does not merely display His power, He gives humanity responsibility. This means leadership is not permission to dominate people but a divine trust to cultivate what has been placed in our care. Chapter 2. The 3 kinds of contributors. Every organization, community, and nation contains people at different levels of contribution. For the purpose of leadership development, they can be understood in 3 broad groups: consumers, maintainers, and developers. These categories do not label anyone permanently. Rather, they describe mindsets and patterns of behavior that can change through vision, training, responsibility, and opportunity. 1. Consumers, those who take from the system. Consumers mainly ask what they can receive. Their attention is directed towards benefits, access, and personal advantage, with little consideration for what they can contribute. A consumer mentality may appear in a workplace, a church, a neighborhood, or an entire society. When it becomes dominant, people expect systems to serve them while accepting little responsibility for sustaining those systems. The responsibility of wise leadership is not to condemn consumers but to create a pathway that moves them towards productivity. This requires education, clear expectations, opportunities to serve, incentives for contribution, and a culture that honors responsibility. Nations and organizations struggle when leadership distributes benefits without developing the capacity of people to create value. 2. Maintainers, those who keep the system working. The second group consists of maintainers, people who operate, protect, and preserve the systems already in place. Their work is essential. Without consistent maintenance, even the best designed system will eventually fail. A healthy system is like breath to the human body. When breathing is restricted, every organ is affected. In the same way, when financial, administrative, educational, communication, or accountability systems stop functioning, the effects spread throughout an organization or society. Good intentions cannot compensate for broken processes indefinitely. Leaders must therefore invest continuously in those who maintain the system. Training cannot be treated as a one-time event. As tools, expectations, and environments change, people must receive updated knowledge and support. When learning stops, decline may not be immediate, but its signs will eventually appear in poor service, frustration, waste, and loss of trust. A competent leader does not need applause to determine whether leadership is working. The condition of the people, the quality of the environment, and the reliability of the organization provide visible evidence. Where leadership is effective, a significant number of people should experience its positive results. 3. Developers, those who build and multiply the system. Developers create what others can maintain and what consumers can eventually learn to contribute to. They recognize needs, organize resources, build solutions, and multiply capacity. Without developers, communities and nations remain dependent on systems designed elsewhere. Everything that exists as a finished product first passed through a developmental process. This book began as an idea. The idea became notes, the notes became a manuscript, and the manuscript became a product that can teach others. Builders transform raw possibilities into useful realities. God is the original builder. Hebrews 3:4 states, "For every house is builded by some man, but he that built all things is God." KJV. Creation reveals order, wisdom, structure, and purpose. God then gave humanity a developmental mandate: be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion. Genesis 1:28, KJV. This is a blueprint for impact: produce, multiply, fill, cultivate, and govern responsibly. God's call is not merely for us to survive. It is for us to develop what He has entrusted to us and bring constructive influence into every sphere of life. Chapter 3. From personal success to lasting significance. Success often asks, "What can I achieve?" Impact development asks, "What can I build that will continue to bless people after me?" The questions are not enemies, but they reveal different horizons. Achievement may be personal. Impact must reach beyond the individual. There is nothing wrong with succeeding. Excellence, growth, and accomplishment are worthy goals. The danger comes when success becomes the final destination. A leader may build a celebrated career and still fail to build people. A founder may create a profitable company and still leave no system of succession. A public official may complete visible projects and still leave citizens without the capacity to sustain them. Significance begins when your success becomes a platform for the progress of others. It is expressed when knowledge is transferred, opportunities are opened, institutions are strengthened, and the next generation is prepared. The mature leader therefore asks not only, "What did I accomplish?" but also, "Who became stronger because I led? What can continue without me? What problem is now less likely to return?" Legacy is not simply what people remember about you. It is what continues to work because you lived, served, taught, and built. Chapter 4. The 3 areas of impact development. Lasting impact grows in 3 connected areas: people, systems, and communities. If one area is neglected, the others eventually suffer. People need systems through which to apply their abilities. Systems need capable people to operate and improve them. Both must serve the real needs of a community. People development, building the carriers of vision. Impact development begins with people. You cannot create lasting influence without developing those who will carry the vision. One person you develop today may become the footprint you leave in history. That person may preserve the values, extend the work, and transfer it to another generation. People are the vehicles of every vision. A vision may be inspiring and strategically sound, but without prepared people it will remain unfulfilled. Many worthy visions die, not because they lacked power, but because leaders failed to build a team capable of carrying them. Identify potential. Great leaders learn to recognize potential before it becomes obvious. Potential is ability in raw form. It may be hidden beneath inexperience, limited exposure, fear, or an unimpressive beginning. A developer sees not only what a person is today but what that person could become with instruction, discipline, and opportunity. Once potential is identified, draw the person closer. Observe character as well as talent. Ask whether the individual is teachable, dependable, willing to serve, and capable of growth. Talent may attract attention, but character determines whether increased responsibility can be sustained. Equip through education and practice. To equip is to provide the knowledge, skills, tools, and guided practice required for competent service. Training should not merely expose people to information. It should develop them to the point where they can apply what they have learned consistently. This is the deeper meaning of schooling people. They are not rushed through a brief orientation and then expected to perform as experts. They receive explanation, demonstration, supervised practice, feedback, correction, and repeated opportunity until competence is established. Properly equipped people are not half prepared. They understand both what to do and why it matters. Empower with responsibility and trust. Empowerment means giving prepared people meaningful responsibility, appropriate authority, and the trust necessary to do their work. Delegating a task without granting access, authority, or room for judgment is not genuine empowerment. Leaders who refuse to trust others eventually become the bottleneck of their own vision. Trust should not be careless. It should be built through clear standards, progressive responsibility, accountability, and honest feedback. As people prove faithful, their scope should grow. Release people to lead and multiply. The final purpose of identification, equipping, and empowerment is release. You cannot prepare people and then hold them permanently beneath your control. Let them lead. Give them space to make responsible decisions, solve problems, and develop others. Paul modeled this multiplication principle in his instruction to Timothy, "And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also." 2 Timothy 2:2, KJV. Within one verse we see 4 generations of impact: Paul, Timothy, faithful people, and those they would teach. Paul's ministry still speaks because he did not keep revelation and responsibility to himself. Systems development, making excellence repeatable. Qualified people can still produce poor results when the system surrounding them is broken. Good people working within bad systems often experience frustration, confusion, and burnout. Great impact therefore requires great systems. A system is an agreed and repeatable way of doing something. It defines how decisions are made, how people are trained, how resources are managed, how service is delivered, how communication flows, and how results are measured. Systems convert individual effort into organizational capacity. Without systems, the leader becomes the center of every decision and the answer to every problem. Growth then increases pressure rather than capacity. A healthy system distributes knowledge, clarifies responsibility, preserves standards, and enables the work to continue when one person is absent. Community development, solving problems together. Impact is never entirely solitary. it is communal. Communities develop when leaders and citizens work together to solve real problems involving poverty, education, health, enterprise, leadership, safety, and purpose. Many persistent community challenges are intensified by the absence of programs that build local knowledge and participation. A community is not limited to a physical neighborhood. It may be a business sector, a professional network, a church, an age group, an online audience, or any group united by shared needs and aspirations. Whatever the context, leaders must ensure that they are doing the right work, not merely doing familiar activities efficiently. Chapter 5. 3 Questions for Community Transformation. 1. What pain can I help solve? Pain represents the unresolved challenges people experience. Every locality, household, profession, and organization contains problems that have not yet received an effective response. The impact developer listens before prescribing. He or she studies the people, gathers evidence, and seeks to understand both the visible symptoms and the underlying causes. A solution cannot be properly designed until the problem is accurately defined. Leaders should ask, who is affected? How serious is the problem? What has already been attempted? Why did those attempts succeed or fail? What resources already exist within the community? Careful diagnosis protects leaders from offering impressive answers to questions nobody is asking. 2. What gift can I bring? Every person carries abilities, experience, insight, and perspective that can contribute to a solution. A gift is not merely a public talent, it is a capacity through which you create value and serve others effectively. When leaders operate within the area of their strongest contribution, their intelligence, creativity, and energy become more fully engaged. Intelligence includes knowing what to do, understanding how to use what is available, and adapting wisely when conditions change. The human mind is an extraordinary gift from God. Because humanity was created in the image of God, we possess the ability to reason, imagine, organize, communicate, and create. These capacities should be cultivated and directed towards service. Your gift does not remove the need for learning. Raw ability must be refined by knowledge, discipline, and experience. Nor does your gift make you superior to others. It gives you a responsibility to contribute what you carry while respecting the different strengths that others bring. 3. With whom can I partner? Partnership matters because no individual possesses every resource, skill, relationship, and perspective required for significant transformation. We usually accomplish more when we work with others than when we insist on working alone. Teamwork is not simply gathering people in one room. Effective partnership requires a shared purpose, defined roles, mutual respect, honest communication, and accountability. Each member should bring a distinct contribution, while everyone remains committed to the same outcome. When people are developed, systems are built, and partnerships are aligned around real needs, communities can be transformed. This is consistent with God's design. Different gifts working together for a purpose greater than any one person. Chapter 6. The Mindset of an Impact Developer. Impact development begins in the mind. Developers think beyond what is immediately visible. They see possibilities within people, patterns within problems, and pathways where others see only obstacles. Think long-term. Impact developers plant trees beneath whose shade they may never sit. They are willing to build for 10 years rather than demand results in 10 minutes. This does not mean they postpone action. It means their present actions are guided by a long horizon. Long-term thinking requires patience, consistency, and the ability to measure progress in stages. Developers celebrate early gains but do not confuse a promising beginning with a completed assignment. They remain with the work until the desired capacity and culture have been established. Adopt a stewardship mindset. Stewardship means serving as a keeper, guardian, or custodian of something entrusted to you. An impact developer recognizes that time, talent, money, influence, relationships, and platforms are resources to be managed responsibly. We are not the ultimate owners of the work, We are stewards before God. Jesus taught, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much," Luke 16:10, KJV. Faithfulness in small responsibilities prepares a person for greater trust. We do not own impact, we steward the opportunities and resources through which impact is created. Become solution-oriented. A solution-oriented leader does not deny the seriousness or history of a problem. Instead, that leader refuses to make complaint the final response. People do not need leaders who merely remind them how long a problem has existed. They need leaders who can mobilize thought, resources, and cooperation towards a credible answer. A maintainer may ask, "Who is responsible for this failure?" Accountability matters, but the developer also asks, "What can we build to prevent this problem from continuing?" The first question investigates the past, the second creates a better future. Mature leadership knows when to ask both. Choose multiplication over addition. Addition happens when you personally help 10 people. Multiplication happens when you train 10 people who can each help 10 more. Direct service remains valuable, but multiplication expands the reach of that service. The multiplication mindset changes how leaders use their time. They do not only perform tasks, they document processes, teach principles, coach others, and transfer authority. The goal is not to remain indispensable but to make effective service reproducible. That is impact development. Chapter 7. The 4-Step Impact Framework. A vision becomes useful when it is translated into action. The following framework provides a practical starting point for a leader, ministry, organization, business, or community initiative. Step 1. Clarify your impact zone. Where are you called and equipped to bring change? Your primary zone may be the family, the church, business, government, education, media, the arts, technology, or youth development. Clarifying your zone concentrates your attention and makes the assignment more manageable. You cannot address every need personally. Trying to impact everywhere often produces shallow activity and exhaustion. Choose a defined area, understand its people and problems, and go deep. Clarity does not imprison your future, it gives your present effort direction. Step 2. Develop yourself first. You cannot consistently give what you have not developed within yourself. Leaders must become deliberate readers and lifelong learners. Entertainment has a legitimate place, but it should not consume the time needed for study, reflection, skill development, and meaningful work. Every generation faces distractions and promises of instant success. Impact developers resist shortcuts. They improve their knowledge, seek credible mentors, practice their craft, and strengthen their character. Not every accomplished person will be available to mentor you directly, but you can still learn through books, courses, observation, and service. Character deserves particular attention because it sustains a leader when visibility and responsibility increase. Skill may open a door, but integrity, humility, discipline, and emotional maturity help a leader remain effective after entering it. Your growth rate places a limit on your impact rate. Step 3. Build one working system. Select one important area and create a simple, repeatable system around it. It might be a weekly mentoring meeting, a training manual, an onboarding process, a follow-up schedule, a community needs assessment, or a method for measuring results. Begin with the essential questions. What outcome are we trying to produce? What steps lead to that outcome? Who is responsible for each step? What resources are required? How will we know whether the process is working? Keep the first version simple, test it, collect feedback, and improve it. A working system makes impact repeatable and reduces unnecessary stress. It also prevents valuable knowledge from disappearing whenever a key person leaves. Step 4. Raise other impact developers. Your goal is not to be the only hero in the story. Your goal is to raise people who can serve, lead, build, and raise others. This is how legacy is formed. Identify a small number of faithful people and invest in them intentionally this year. Share your knowledge, explain your values, involve them in meaningful work, correct them with respect, and give them increasing responsibility. Feeding a person may solve today's hunger. Developing that person's capacity can change a family and influence generations. The clearest evidence that you have raised leaders is not that they repeat your words, but that they can understand the principles, apply them wisely in new situations, and develop others without depending continually on you. Chapter 8. Measuring and Sustaining Impact. Good intentions are not enough. Leaders must learn to measure whether their efforts are producing the change they promised. Measurement is not opposed to faith or compassion. It is part of responsible stewardship. Define the change. State the desired outcome clearly. We want to help young people, is sincere but difficult to measure. We will mentor 50 young adults for 6 months, with at least 40 completing a career plan and a practical skills project, gives the team a clearer target. Measure outputs and outcomes. Outputs record activity, the number of people trained, meetings held, manuals distributed, or businesses supported. Outcomes show what changed: improved competence, employment gained, income increased, healthier behavior adopted, stronger systems established, or new leaders developed. Both matter, but outcomes reveal the deeper impact. Listen to the people you serve. Numbers alone do not tell the whole story. Invite feedback from participants, team members, partners, and community representatives. Ask what helped, what created difficulty, what should change, and what needs remain. Listening protects leaders from confusing their intention with the experience of the people they serve. Create continuity. Impact is sustained through documented processes, diversified leadership, ethical financial management, regular training, and a clear succession pathway. If the entire initiative depends on one personality, it remains fragile. Build governance and accountability while the work is healthy, not only when a crisis appears. Review the work at agreed intervals. Preserve what is effective, improve what is weak, and stop what no longer serves the mission. Sustainable leadership is faithful to its purpose without becoming trapped by a method. Chapter 9. Build what will outlast you. The world does not need more empty noise. It needs builders, men and women who can develop people, establish systems, solve problems, and strengthen communities. This need is especially urgent in an era of artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, and rapid digital change. Technology is transforming how people learn, work, communicate, and create value. Many individuals and institutions are not yet prepared for the scale or speed of this transition. Impact developers must respond with wisdom rather than fear. They must help people acquire relevant skills, preserve human dignity, use technology responsibly, and create systems in which innovation serves the common good. The tools may be new, but the leadership responsibility remains. Prepare people for the future while protecting the values that make the future worth building. Begin where you are. Identify one person to develop, one system to strengthen, and one community problem to understand more deeply. Clarify your impact zone. Grow your own capacity. Build something repeatable. Raise others who can carry the work beyond you. You are not called merely to occupy a position. You are called to steward influence. You are not called merely to complete tasks. You are called to build capacity. You are not called merely to be remembered. You are called to leave behind people, systems, and communities that are stronger because you served. That is leadership. That is legacy. That is impact development. Conclusion. A personal impact commitment. I will use my leadership to develop people, not merely direct them. I will build systems that preserve excellence, not merely depend on personal effort. I will listen to communities, understand real needs, and work with others to create responsible solutions. I will think beyond immediate applause and build for the generations that follow. I will steward my time, talent, resources, relationships, and influence faithfully before God. I will continue to learn, strengthen my character, measure what matters, and raise other impact developers. My goal will not be to remain indispensable. My goal will be to make purpose, competence, and service multiply through others. By the grace of God, I will build what blesses people today and continues to speak tomorrow. Copyright 2026 at Daniel Eremasele. All rights reserved. We sincerely appreciate the time you have spent with us. We look forward to connecting with you again. Until then, remain blessed, continue exploring the treasures God has placed within you, and remember to listen to our other inspirational materials. We would be grateful to receive your feedback and hear how this audiobook has blessed, encouraged, or transformed your life. Please help us to like and subscribe to our channel to help us reach more people. Thank you once again.